The cold desert wind whispered my name across empty dunes that all looked the same. No trees to listen, no rivers to cry, only a pale moon nailed to the sky. Footprints vanished as soon as they formed, dreams froze over where memories stormed. Sand like ashes of things never said, silence alive, but the heart felt dead. The night wore a shawl of silver and blue, each star a wound the darkness once knew. I walked with shadows that weren't my own, carrying sorrows the daylight had thrown. The cold desert wind brushed over my face, like a ghost of love I could never replace. It carried a voice I almost knew, soft as goodbye, sharp as truth. My breath came out like broken prayer, vanishing slowly in the frozen air. The dunes were waves of a silent sea, drowning a past that remembered me. Somewhere far, a memory burned, a warmth to which my soul once turned. But here, the night had teeth of ice, and hope was a word that came with a price. I asked the wind, "Where do you roam? Do you ever pass a place called home?" It answered not, just colder it grew, as if it knew what I never knew. The sand sang songs of people gone, of battles lost before the dawn, of promises buried under stone, of hearts that traveled this path alone. My hands were empty, my eyes were dry, even tears refused to try. Pain had settled, quiet and deep, like something that had forgotten to weep. The cold desert wind curled through my hair, a lonely hand that wasn't there. It wrapped around my tired chest, like sorrow asking me to rest. Each step echoed inside my mind, a march with nothing left behind. No past to hold, no future clear, only this endless, breathless fear. The moon followed like a silent guard, lighting a road already hard. Its glow was pale, almost afraid, as if it too would slowly fade. I thought of a voice that once said, "Stay," but love is a bird that flies away. Now only wind repeats the sound, circling dunes without being found. The cold desert wind became my guide, through lands where even echoes died. It showed me ruins made of sand, castles built by a trembling hand. I saw my heart in a broken wall, cracked by a hope too small to call. A door half open, a window sealed, a truth too painful to be revealed. Night deepened like an endless well, where all my quiet questions fell. The stars above were sharp and thin, like needles stitching me within. I lay upon the frozen ground, listening to the hollow sound. The earth was cold, but so was I, two strangers under the same sky. The cold desert wind leaned close to hear the silent language of my fear. It took my sigh, it stole my ache, left only emptiness in its wake. If morning comes, will I still be a name the wind remembers me? Or just another grain of sand? Lost in the sleep of a forgotten land, the horizon trembled, thin and gray, as if unsure of bringing day. Dawn arrived without a sound, like fragile glass upon the ground. The cold desert wind did not grow warm, it only shifted shape and form. From midnight whisper to morning sigh, still carrying the same goodbye. Light spilled slowly on silent dunes, fading the silver of night's old runes. Yet nothing softened in that glow, the chill remained beneath it all. I rose with sand upon my skin, like dust of battles fought within. The sun climbed up, but far away, its warmth too weak for hearts of clay. Mirages shimmered in golden air, cities of hope that weren't there. I walked toward one with foolish grace, only to find an empty space. The cold desert wind laughed low, at how the lost still choose to go. It swirled around my fragile frame, calling my loneliness by name. Somewhere a falcon pierced the sky, sharp as a question asking why. Its wings were bold, its cry was free, a contrast carved in front of me. I envied flight, I envied height, the courage to leave the endless night. But I was rooted in unseen chains, bound by memory's quiet pains. The dunes shifted with restless will, like thoughts that never can be still. Yesterday's path erased from sight, no proof I walked there in the night. I tried to shout into the air, to prove that someone still was there. But sound dissolved before it grew, swallowed by distance I once knew. The cold desert wind grew fierce again, a blade of ice against my skin. Carved its story in my face, etched with loss I can't erase. I remembered hands that once held mine, warm as sunlight, soft as time. Now even memory felt cold, a fading fire too weak to hold. The desert stretched without remorse, an endless, patient, silent force. No mercy in its golden sea, no place to hide, no place to flee. By noon the sky was white and wide, a burning sheet with nowhere to hide. Yet still the wind remained so cold, a contradiction brave and bold. I found a stone half buried deep, a relic the dunes forgot to keep. I sat beside it, closed my eyes, and let the past begin to rise. Faces formed in shifting light, laughing softly in the night. A promise spoken, gentle, clear, I'll always stay, don't ever fear. But fear had come without a sound, and love had vanished underground. The cold desert wind had seen it all, watched that tender empire fall. It wrapped around my silent chest, a ghost refusing me to rest. It hummed a tune of what had been, of fragile hearts and breaking skin. Afternoon faded into rust, the sun descending into dust. Shadows grew long, thin, and frail, like tired soldiers doomed to fail. I wondered if the wind was me or I the wind, untethered, free. Both wandering without a claim, both burning with a hidden flame. The cold desert wind began to sing, not of loss, but of something. A distant note almost too small, like hope afraid to stand tall. It spoke of seeds beneath the sand, of life that waits for rain's command, of roots that dream in secret sleep, in places buried dark and deep. Could it be true beneath this land something alive still dared to stand? Could frozen hearts one day begin to feel a pulse beneath their skin? The sky turned purple, bruised and wide, as evening slowly swallowed pride. The first star blinked in trembling light, a silver tear in coming night. The cold desert wind grew soft once more, no longer cutting to the core. It brushed my face like quiet grace, a tender touch time can't erase. I stood and faced the endless plain, not free of loss, not free of pain. But something small had changed inside, a shift too subtle to divide. The wind still cold, the dunes still vast, the wounds of memory not yet past. Yet in the hush of dark's embrace, I felt less lost in this wide space. For maybe I was never meant to conquer what the desert sent, but simply walk and breathe and be a grain within infinity. The cold desert wind moved on ahead, no longer something I must dread. It wasn't cruel, it wasn't kind, just a mirror of my mind. And as night fell in silver streams, I gathered up my fractured dreams. Not whole, not bright, not free of scar, but mine, wherever I wander far. Night returned on velvet feet, laying darkness soft and deep. The dunes exhaled the heat of day, letting silver shadows play. The cold desert wind knew my pace. It no longer chased, it matched my pace. Like an old companion, quiet, near, no longer only shaped like fear. Above, the stars burned clear and wide, tiny fires the void can't hide. Each one flickered, small but strong, proof that light can live in long. I walked where moonlight spilled like rain, washing gently over pain. The sand beneath gave way, then stayed, like trust that forms though once betrayed. A distant ridge rose dark and steep, a secret the night had sworn to keep. The wind curved round it, slow and low, as if inviting me to go. My legs were tired, my breath was thin, but something steadier moved within. Not hope that shouts, not joy that sings, just quiet strength in broken things. The cold desert wind brushed past my ear, and for the first time, it felt clear. Not every chill is sent to break. Some come to keep the soul awake. I climbed the ridge with careful feet. Each step and heartbeat chose to meet. The sand slid back, the slope was long, but silence hummed a softer song. At last I stood on the other side, where dunes fell open, vast and wide. A valley slept in silver glow, untouched by any step I know. And there, so small I thought it wrong, a darker thread the night among. A line of palms, a shadowed seam, like something drawn from half a dream. The cold desert wind moved gently there, not sharp, not cruel, but almost fair. It carried scent, so faint, so slight, of hidden water in the night. My heart, long still, gave one deep beat, a cautious knock from its retreat. Could life exist where death had reigned? Could loss be vast and not unchained? I made my way down moonlit sand, toward that fragile, shadowed band. Each step a question, soft, unsure, each breath a dare to hope once more. The wind did not push me away, nor try to make my courage sway. It walked beside, a steady guide, no longer storm I had to hide. As I drew close, the air grew strange, cooler still, but sweet with change. The earth felt firmer under me, less like a drifting, broken sea. Then sound, so small I almost cried, a silver murmur low and wide, water speaking stone to stone, a voice no desert owns alone. The cold desert wind fell hushed and slow, as if this place it too did know. It circled once, then seemed to rest, like a long journey in one chest. I reached the palms, their shadows long, leaves whispering an ancient song. A pool lay cradled in their keep, dark and clear and still and deep. Moonlight trembled on its skin, a quiet world held safe within. I knelt, my reflection pale and worn, a face by endless distance torn. I touched the water, cold but kind, and felt it travel through my mind. Not fire, not light, not sudden grace, just gentle space and space and space. The cold desert wind moved through the trees, a softer tongue among the leaves. No longer blade, no longer cry, but breath between the earth and sky. I drank, and something in me knew the desert was not only true in emptiness and endless loss, but also in this hidden gloss. For even where the harsh winds roam, life can carve a secret home, and even hearts the cold has pinned may find a spring beneath the wind. I lay beside that silent pool, the night no longer sharp or cruel. The stars above, the earth below, and in between a gentler flow. The cold desert wind passed overhead, no longer voice of all I dread. It did not leave, it did not bind, it simply moved, like time, like mind. And as I drifted toward my sleep, where buried things begin to speak, I understood what wind had shown. No one walks the dunes alone, for loss may walk beside your tread, and ghosts may share the tears you've shed. But somewhere in the vast unknown, a quiet well is always sown. And when the cold wind calls your name, it is not always grief or blame. Sometimes it's just the soul's own sound, leading the lost where life is found. Morning unfolded in threads of gold, soft over water, shy over cold. The palms stood still in patient grace, guardians of that hidden place. Mist rose thin from the silent spring, like breath from some forgotten thing. It curled through air, so light, so slow, a ghost of warmth the night let go. I woke with sand still in my hair, but less of weight inside my stare. The sky above was pale and wide, no longer something I must hide. The cold desert wind returned at dawn, but not as something to be gone. It passed across the pool's clear face, and did not steal its quiet grace. I washed my hands, I washed my eyes, let dust of yesterdays baptize the earth below instead of me. A small surrender, soft and free. The valley held a fragile sound, a hum beneath the open ground, not loud enough to name as song, but proof that life had lived here long. I thought the desert only knew how to erase what once I grew. Yet here it kept, in secret deep, a promise even loss can't keep. The cold desert wind brushed past my chest, but did not tighten, did not press. It moved like memory after tears, still there, but gentler with the years. I stood and looked beyond the trees, at dunes that rolled like frozen seas. The path ahead was still unknown, but not as empty as I'd known. For now I carried more than ache, more than the weight of each mistake. I held the silence of that spring, a quiet, living, breathing thing. A single bird broke morning's seam, its wings a stroke across the gleam. It drank, then rose without a sound, leaving no shadow on the ground. I smiled, so small it almost broke, and used to such a tender yoke. Not joy that dances, wild and loud, but light that slips behind a cloud. The cold desert wind moved through the palms, speaking in low, unhurried psalms. It did not urge, it did not warn, it only touched the edge of morn. I stepped beyond the ring of green, back to the dunes wide and unseen. Yet something followed, soft and clear, the memory of water near. Each dune I crossed, each ridge I climbed, felt less like fate and more like time. Not something set to make me fall, but space enough to hold it all. The cold desert wind still chilled my skin, still traced the hollow places in. But now I knew beneath its breath lived seeds that slept in silent depth. No map had marked that hidden well, no voice had told me where it fell. The desert kept its mercy small, enough for those who risk the call. By noon the sun burned white again, the sky a bright, unbroken plain. But deep inside, the spring remained, a secret no dry wind had drained. I walked not faster, not more sure, still human, fragile, far from pure. Yet step by step the truth grew kind, the harshest winds can shape, not blind. The cold desert wind ran by my side, no longer something I must fight. We traveled on, both worn and free, two wanderers in infinity. And if ahead more nights should rise, with empty moons and silent skies, I'll remember where the water lay, hidden from the light of day. For even in the widest land, where nothing seems to take a stand, the earth still keeps, beneath the spin, a place where broken things begin. The cold desert wind will always roam, across the lost, across the known. But now I walk, not chased by past, just moving, breathing, at last.